Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, we are diving into the prospects. We're going to do a check-in with all the prospects, basically, that are not on the Barracuda. So I'm going to start with the 2022 draft class and work our way through, see how each one is progressing since the last time we checked in. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin, RIP, and San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch this on YouTube as well. And today's a great YouTube day because graphics, we're going to be digging into all the prospects and looking at how their seasons have progressed. Last time we did this was beginning of November. Now, of course, we're near the end of January, so I thought it'd be a good time now that we're kind of past the halfway point for most of these guys, see how their seasons are progressing, kind of see which guys are starting to, kind of trend upwards, maybe which guys got off the hot starts and cool down. So going to dig into all that. But before we do so, do want to know that today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment matter more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. All right, so we're going to start with the 2022 draft class and then work our way through. Got some of the Wichita Thunder guys. Some guys weren't on the list before have now started playing. Gannon Laroque, Mattias, Havelid. And then some guys who were playing at, beginning of the year have been injured. Mitchell Russell, Dylan Hamlick. So those guys you won't see. They will be omitted because they haven't really played since they got hurt, which was both were very early into the season. So, yeah, I think we have to, of course, start with Filip Bystedt. All right, Bystedt, of course, 2022 first-round pick from Linkoping, playing in the SHL. 30 games so far this year in the SHL. 4 goals, 8 assists, 49 shots on goal. He is third among junior players. So these are kind of like your 18, 19, your guys who either just got drafted this past year or guys who are going to get drafted. So the only 2 players in front of him in scoring in the SHL are Marco Kasper, who was the 8th pick of the Detroit Red Wings, and then Leo Carlson, who's going to be the 3rd pick in this upcoming draft. And would be really, really sweet if he wore teal. But Bystedt's done a good job in the SHL of adding some scoring. I know, again, the numbers aren't going to sound impressive. You're like, 12. He's playing against grown men, and he's doing this as a 19-year-old kid. So this is good to see. He is contributing. Been playing mostly third line, and he's been, as of recently, has been playing second line minutes as well. So Bystedt off to a good start. Cam Lund, the 2022 second-round pick out of Northeastern in the NCAA. He's played 24 games, has 5 goals, 13 assists, and 70 shots on goal. Scoring numbers aren't too bad. I thought he would maybe score a little bit more, and if you also think that of his 5 goals, he got a hat trick in 1 game. So we haven't seen the consistent scoring, but he has been a points producer for them. So he's got 18 points in 24 games, which is very, very good to see, especially as a rookie playing in the end, or a freshman, playing in the NCAA. I think once he continues to kind of develop his game, you'll see the goals start to come with him. But he does a lot for them. You can definitely see his transition game in Northeastern. How well he's kind of relied on to help kind of provide that transition for them. So like I said, I expect once he continues to kind of grow and develop, we'll see that goal total start to kind of jump up some more. It's just, you also don't see a lot of, it's not like the highest of scoring leagues type of thing. So just, playing in the NCAA. So, but solid start for him. Mattias Havelid, who we did not see when we did this in November, he was played like a couple games, missed a bunch of time with a back injury, but it seems like he's back on track right now. He's played 10 games, does have a goal and 2 assists with 7 shots on goal in that time. His goal was his first career SHL goal, so expect him to kind of, play a bunch of games here down the stretch, and, build, kind of continues to build up and work on becoming that offensive defenseman that the Sharks are honestly going to need out of him. So again, remember, I know the numbers aren't going to look as gaudy as compared to some other players, but he's playing against grown men right now and contributing. That is what you want to see. I expect next year again, when Havelid's back in the SHL again next year, hopefully not dealing with a back injury to start a season, we start to see kind of a more consistent production for him. But again, good to see him back from injury, right? Mason Beaupit. So beginning of the season, remember, he was playing with the Spokane, got traded to Winnipeg Ice, and his numbers have improved. He had his numbers at the beginning of the season were not good. And they have improved, but I mean, that's what happens when you play with a much better team. The Winnipeg Ice are considered one of the best teams in the WHL. And Spokane Chiefs are one of the worst teams. So he's been more of a backup role for Winnipeg this year compared to being the full-time guy for Spokane. But his numbers have definitely started to improve. I'll kind of give you a quick. So right now, for these numbers are his full season. He's played 17 games, 863 save percentage, 415 goals against, 411 saves. The kind of quick breakdown between both those, pulling it up right now. So he for Spokane, 833 save percentage, 558 goals against in 9 games. For Winnipeg, 277 goals against, a shutout, and 899 save percentage. So you see those numbers much better with a much better team in front of him. So expect him to continue to kind of help to grow that confidence. And, getting shell shocked for the first 9 games of the season probably isn't great for the confidence there. So hopefully he can continue to build the confidence. And, Winnipeg is expected to be a major player in the Memorial Cup this season. So Jake Furlong over in the Q, 5th round pick, playing for Halifax, 42 games, 5 goals, 24 assists, 108 shots on goal. Halifax, I've discussed with this before. They are one of the best teams in the Q. They score a ton of goals, and you kind of would expect maybe the points totals to be a little bit higher, especially for what he kind of, he plays top defensive minutes for Halifax. But talking to our good friend Hattie, who will be on next week, talking with him, it's a little hard with the numbers where they can get inflated really quickly in the Q, just because between the 3 Canadian hockey leagues, this one is definitely the more less structured, I guess. The more less, it's the beer league-ish of the 3 of them. So yes, but yeah, would like to see the scoring totals go up a little bit, especially for, again, how much the Q they do score over there. So Joey Maldoni, 2022 5th round pick for Des Moines, 33 games this year, 10 goals, 7 assists, 55 shots on goal. It's actually one of the leading scorers for Des Moines. I think he is either second or third in point. He's first in goals, and I believe like second or third in points. So having himself a pretty solid USHL season. Again, off to college next year. So love to see it, especially with the goals, being a leading your team, at this young of age. Good to see. Good. The Sharks maybe might have found something. We'll see. Still a long way to go, but signs are looking up for Mr. Maldoni. Next, Eli Barnett, 2022 7th round pick, playing in Victoria in the BCHL. 31 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. Again, we know Barnett, he is not going to be providing the offense. That is not his game. He said that, in the offseason, he wanted to work on that. He is your big defensive shutdown type of unit guy. So, again, he's going to be off to college next year as well. So you hope he can continue to work on his game as he goes off to college, but seen a little bit of jump in the offensive production this year. So, and then last from the 2022 7th round pick, Reese Laubach. Reese was traded to Omaha Lancers this season, and once that trade, you really started to see him kind of pick up his game, and he talked about getting a fresh start. So he's on Youngstown, got traded, and has really kind of found his game. 30 games so far this season. He's got 4 goals, 9 assists, and 53 shots. But a much of that production has come with him playing in Omaha. And he's kind of not playing in the bottom lineup. Has been getting an opportunity to kind of play more and play higher in the lineup, and he's starting to take advantage of that. So we'll see how he continues with that. And then he'll be off to college next year as well. We are off to a break to talk to you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, one of the greatest times of the year. You have NFL playoffs. This weekend, we have conference championships, and we're really excited about our new sports betting partner from Locked On because they're the number one sportsbook in America, FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers join today. Get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. Again, I keep saying it. If you think the Niners are going to win, Christian McCaffrey touchdown, anytime touchdown, it feels like a marriage made in heaven right there. So all in an app that's safe and secure and super easy to use. So football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet and get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so we finished the 2022 draft class. Now we're going to jump into 2021. Again, any guys who are playing on the Barracuda, aka William Eklund, I've excluded from this because we talk about the Barracuda a lot more. And, we have full episodes on the Barracuda. I wanted to kind of more abroad with the prospects and see how all these other guys are doing. So checking in on them. Good friend to the show, Benjamin Goudreau, who was just on the podcast. So 27 games, 870 save percentage, 346 goals against so far for Sarnia. We talked about with him how he feels like this is kind of the year for them where they're going to kind of make their run. It's been a lot of it's been working towards right now. So Goudreau is going to be kind of the focal point of this team. And, he talked about how he was playing his best hockey in the playoffs last year, and he was really kind of working towards playing his best playoffs playing his best hockey right now in a stretch run going into the playoffs. So continue to see, his numbers hopefully start to improve a little bit. They've been pretty much kind of stagnant since what we saw in November. So kind of save percentage, goals against average, pretty close to what we saw then. So hopefully here it starts to play some little bit better hockey when the lights get, the brightest right now. So Gannon Laroque, who we did not see in the first run, coming back from his hip injury, the 2021 4th-round pick, playing in Victoria in the WHL. He's played 4 games, came back, played 4 games, and then he's been kind of day-to-day. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if he starts to hopefully get back into the lineup here soon. But he's been very impactful in those 4 games. The captain has 2 goals, 3 assists, 14 shots on goal in 4 games. So we saw last year where he really found that next gear in his offensive game. And if this, again, tiny sample size right here of 4 games, but if he can continue anywhere close to this pace, Laroque might be a diamond in the rough type of player for the Sharks, where you might be getting something. I'm not saying he's not going to be Erik Karlsson superstar, but you might be getting a serviceable second pair defenseman who can help score and provide scoring. That finding that in the fourth round, you will take that all day, every day. So keep an eye on Laroque, how he's dealing with this injury here. So Ethan Cardwell, 2021 fourth round pick out of Barrie, playing the OHL again. He was one of the last guys who was cut from the Barracuda training camp, sent him back. Started out blistering pace as soon as he hit the OHL, but it's this season he has kind of slowed down. He was around almost point. He was over a point and a half, close to 2 points a game. He's definitely kind of slowed down here a little bit. 36 games, 22 goals, 26 assists, 145 shots on goal. So again, nothing to seize at, but you really expected him to kind of almost have the Brandon Coe type season where he's really kind of blowing, kind of astronomical numbers, especially for being one of the older players in the OHL. So we saw kind of this time last year where he really found his game. So hopefully he can kind of do that again, going down the stretch run, really start to kind of pump up these numbers again for Barrie. So moving on, Max McHugh, 2021 fifth round pick from London, 33 games, 7 goals, 14 assists, 47 shots a goal. Kind of expecting McHugh to kind of make more of a jump this year, and it just really hasn't happened. 21 points in 33 games is okay, especially. But I mean, London's a pretty good team. They score a lot, and I know they're very much a top line type of team, and it's just kind of expecting Max McHugh to kind of make that jump here this year, and it just hasn't really happened yet. So. Artem Girev, I got to update that. So he's no longer with Peterborough. He's actually now with Flint. Got traded this midway through the season, the 2021 fifth round pick. Since he's got to Flint, in Peterborough, he was suspended like 3 times. So not the greatest to see that. With Flint, he's really kind of found his game a little bit. So at least the scoring touch, 28 games this season. 2 goals, 4 assists, 28 shots on goal. If he can not get suspended for like fighting and checking dudes in the head, that would probably go a long way in his development. It's hard to play. It's hard to develop being a hockey player when you keep getting suspended. So Liam Gilmartin, again, he was traded at the beginning of the season from London to Erie. Came out. After first kind of a couple weeks, found his groove with them, but then he's really, really kind of slowed down. He did also have a 10-game suspension for, I believe he was kicked out of a game, and then he came back and started talking trash to the ref or something like that. Anyway, him coming back, 10-game suspension. So kind of, I think maybe took the air out of his season a little bit. So 29 games, 6 goals, 15 assists, 43 points. So again, he had like 5 goals. We did this in the beginning of November. So hopefully here, now he's back from suspension, can really kind of find his offensive game again. Theo Jacobson, 2021 6th round pick, playing in for Modo over in the Hockey Allsvenskan. 36 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 51 shots on goal. Again, he's playing Hockey Allsvenskan. I know it's the second league, but you're playing, adults and kind of more higher competition than you are playing like in the CHL and stuff like that. So keep an eye on him. See if he, I think he's going to be one of those long-term stay over in Sweden type of guys. And then Sharks might bring him over in a couple of years. So keep an eye on how he's doing over there. Then before we get into the 2020 draft class, do want to take a break, let you guys know about the Locked On Sports Today podcast. So thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Second listen, go check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. They got you covered with all the biggest stories in sports, biggest news. I'm sure they're talking, starting the merry-go-round that's going to be the NFL here soon. It gets you guys ready for the playoffs this weekend, all the big basketball news. We've also got the take of the day. So make sure you guys go check out Locked On Sports Today wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, heading into the 2020 draft class. So most of these guys are already with the Barracuda. So we'll start with my cousin. I'm kidding. Alex Young, the 2027th round pick for Colgate. Having himself a really nice season this year in Colgate. Nominated for the Hobey Baker Award for the NCAA. 24 games, 13 goals, 12 assists, 65 shots on goal. So he's really kind of found his offensive game this year. We'll see, the Sharks still have his rights for a little bit longer, so they don't have to, if he wants to go back, we'll see what he wants to do type of situation. But, good for him to find it. It almost kind of reminds me of Scott Reedy, right? His last year really found his offensive game, and that kind of propelled him going forward into his pro game. So see what the Sharks do with Mr. Young here going forward. And then Evgeny Kashnikov, I don't know why I put him in the wrong. Anyway, he's part of the 2021 draft class. I got my draft classes mixed up there. My bad. Sorry. He's playing over in the KHL, 53 games over there, 3 goals, 4 assists, 60 shots on goal. So he's played a lot of games. It's kind of crazy. They've already played that many games over in Russia in the KHL. But he's been, playing mostly a lot of games. You've really seen his ice time kind of increase, especially from the start of the year to now. So I think the Sharks are just going to kind of let him sit over there and continue to develop. They have his rights basically as long as they want, since he's playing over in the KHL. Next, Timofey Spitzerov, the other 2027th round pick, University of Vermont. He's played 12 games this year, has 2 goals, 0 assists, 8 shots on goal. It just may not be happening for Mr. Spitzerov. So, all right, some of the other guys, kind of out there in the ether, going to kind of collect all this. We're going to get like Wichita guys, kind of just a bunch of guys, other guys out there. So Alexander Shmelovski, the 2017, of course, was playing with the Sharks and Barracuda last year. Playing over in the KHL this year. He's having himself a nice season. He was an all-star, at the selection this year. 54 games, 18 goals, 15 assists, 142 shots on goal. So it'll be interesting to see if he ever comes back. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the Sharks will do with him. I could also just see him, playing in the KHL. And, if you're an all-star in the KHL and making a bunch of money over there and having a good time. So, yep. But good for Shmelovski. All right, so now we're going to get some of the Wichita guys. Timor Ibragimov, the 2019 6th-round pick, has been playing in Wichita in the ECHL. 40 games, 9 goals, 15 assists down there with 77 shots on goal. So, again, I feel like he's been kind of the one who's made the most of his opportunity down in the ECHL. I don't know if he's going to be making a jump to the CUDA, especially with how Mike Grier is really trying to focus on building out the CUDA right now for a playoff type of run. So we'll see what happens if he continues to maybe add some more scoring pop down there. He might get a call up here. Strauss Mann. Again, we know poor Strauss Mann has been having to bounce back and forth between Wichita and the CUDA. These are his Wichita numbers. So 13 games over there, 932 save percentage, 251 goals against average. I think, again, when James Reimers gets traded, we will see Aaron Dell, most likely, maybe Etu Makanemi playing in the NHL. And I think we will see Mann getting more of a run with the CUDA down the stretch here. So I think once the trade deadline happens, we'll probably see more Mann on the CUDA. So because, again, I think all of the CUDA goalies have played really well, and Strauss-Mann has played phenomenally down in the ECHL, and has been kind of, earned his opportunity. He was, rookie of the month. Like, he's won a bunch of ECHL accolades down there. So he is, I think, well on his way to, being a pretty fine goalie. So, and then last but not least, Magnus Corona, the defending champion for University of Denver, 2018 fifth round pick. I don't know why I forgot to fix that again with the ECHL. My graphics today. 22 games played, 911 save percentage, 226 goals against average, 503 saves. He's well on his way to having another fine season for University of Denver. Sharks, after the season, Sharks will have to sign him because I think he's going to hit his NCAA run out of eligibility, so the Sharks will sign him. So who knows? Maybe at the after the season's over, we see some Corona with the Barracuda. Depends on if Denver, maybe if their season ends a little early. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe we see some Corona on the Barracuda. So yes, I believe that is it. Yep. All right. So we went through all of them. Basically everybody. If I forgot somebody, I apologize. I think I got most everybody. So at least people were most intrigued about, right? So again, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, Amazon Music, wherever. Yeah, you can listen. You can watch on YouTube as well. Thank you guys. A bunch of new subscribers recently. Thank you guys for checking out the trade deadline little reaction video. So we'll be back on Monday with a recap of the weekend's news. I'll get you guys. We have our another draft profile already in the books. So good friend Hattie is on. That'll probably be out on Tuesdays. So yeah, the Sharks finishing up this road trip, and then we got in the All-Star break, and we'll be diving into the trade deadline stuff and all that jazz. So until then, bye friends.